Hi everyone. Just waiting, making sure I've got confirmation. I am streaming live. Yeah, I am live. Hey, I've just got the BBC um, live feed from the House of Commons at the moment on my other monitor. Yeah, it's just on the other monitor at the moment, and they're debating this bill. They're debating this bill that they're trying to get through to take your rights away and literally be able to just take you away. Ha, lock you up and say, man, mental health problem. Bye bye. No questions asked. And by the way, we only need one doctor to do it now. Um, and Chris Bryant from Labour has just stood up. If he's still there. No, he's not. Somebody else at the moment. So Chris Bryant from Labour has stood up, and he said that even though they've reduced it to 6 months, it's got to be voted on every 6 months. It's still going to stay on the statute for 2 years. So it is going to stop on the statute for 2 years, this bill is. Anyway, and he said, I didn't quite understand it, but he was saying that basically that one thing cancelled the other out. So he's not sure that it is actual lawfully correct at all. But one thing that is definitely in this bill is there's no judicial review of it. So there's no oversight from the law. You don't have a leg to stand on, guys. They take you away, you're fucked. So that's looks like basically how they're trying to fuck you. And they will, of course, because even though Chris Bryant is doing a great job, they're standing up and pointing these things out. Labour are so useless, they lost to the Tories last year because they threw their base overboard. And now there's not enough of them to block it, and the bill will go through. See how it works? Politics, everybody! Best way to do things, is it? Fuck. Hello, everybody in the. Yeah, where's the bill? It's coming. They're going to vote on it tonight, and I've got what 15 minutes, haven't I? I've got 15 minutes before Boris Johnson is meant to go live, so I want to talk about something. I saw this the other day in Common Dreams, and it made me sick. And then it made me think, yeah, that's logical, actually. Italians found way to 3D print key ventilator piece for $1 to help battle coronavirus, so the company with the patent is threatening to sue. This is just awful that this happens. Let me read a little bit. This is from Owen Higgins, I think. After 2 Italian volunteers used a 3D printer to manufacture a desperately needed ventilator component for those stricken by the coronavirus, the medical company with the patent for the device threatened to sue, even as the printed valve saved at least 10 people's lives in a hospital in the northern Italian city of Brescia. Quote, there were people whose lives were in danger and we acted, Christian Fracassi, who along with fellow volunteer Alessandro Ramauli made the valves, said in a Facebook post on Sunday. We found the Martin Shkreli of the pandemic. What he said, the medical devices company has decided to sue a bunch of Italian volunteers who 3D printed valves. That's where the Facebook post came from. Fracassi and Ramaoli, who work at 3D printing startup Isinova, were asked by physicist Massimo Temporelli to assist with producing the valves for $1, to save lives for $1, after supplies from the Source Medical company were not forthcoming. So we can't get the supplies. The company, which charges $11,000 a piece for something that they manufacture for $1. did not share the technical specifications for producing the valve, leading the volunteers to measure the valve and print from those numbers, and has threatened to sue for patent infringement. So I'm not sure whether the devices themselves were the, it's just, I think, just the valve that is the dollar. But it looks like they wanted $11,000 per piece here. TechDirt's Glyn Moody noted on Tuesday that the greed at the heart of the threat to sue was staggering and indicative of deeper problems in the world economic system laid bare by the coronavirus outbreak. No shit. Because this is the logical conclusion of capitalism. This is where we go. I mean, just think about the sickness of this. Just think about how awful, how god-awful a person you must be to hold a patent for something. Anything at all, first of all. Any patent. But hold a patent for a medical device, and then you would rather hold people's lives to ransom than give away something that costs $1. In fact, it wouldn't cost them anything. All they're going to do is give away the specifications of it. You would rather hold people's lives to ransom. How much is a life worth? How much? Would you be happy if they paid you, I don't know, $1,000 a piece? For every piece they make, they give you a cut of $1,000? About 500. What about if the ventilator piece that they were using was going on a young person? Is that worth more than an old person? If you put it on a 25-year-old, is that worth $1,000, but on a 65-year-old, oh, we'll only charge you $250 for that? Do they get a discount? This is fucking awful. But it's the end result of capitalism. This is the natural progression it takes. This is where we are, because when you think about it, this is a pharmaceutical company. This is a company that's meant to help people, to start off with. But we're in a capitalistic system, especially in America, with their for-profit health care system, where it's ran riot, and he's basically holding people's lives to ransom over there. Now they're doing it around the world in the middle of this pandemic. And the reason they're doing it, and the reason companies are like this and do this sort of thing is, think about it, capitalism rewards those people. It rewards the most cutthroat among us. It rewards the people who are least empathic with people. It rewards the people who are most narcissistic and self-absorbed and self-serving and sociopathic. It rewards those people. It rewards the people who lie so they can cheat the taxman and cheat paying their fair share. Why? Because then they've got more capital to invest, so they can get more and more, to the point where they can literally hold a life to ransom. And guess what? The most evil motherfuckers on the planet right now are making those decisions in the middle of a pandemic. Do you think they're going to be making good decisions? Or do you think they're going to be making decisions that only benefit them? This is the logical conclusion of capitalism. We are here. And it's about time we stood up and fucking did something about it, because if we let it carry on, it's going to kill us all. Or we're going to end up speaking Chinese. Either way, it's fine by me. Honestly. God. Can you believe that? It's fucking incredible. How much kudos would that company get if it gave away the patent to that ventilator? I know, Nikki. If it actually gave away the patent, it would probably get its fucking fair share just in people going, oh, well done. Oh, here's a contract. Oh, what's that ventilator? Oh, we'll have some of them. They'd probably make more money just by being fucking nice. It's so sick. And the Americans did it with healthcare, and now the British want the American system. We are ruled by absolute monsters. You know that? Monsters. Patents are the capture of free expression in order to charge rent. Well done, Oz Whistles. That's a statement and a half, that is. Honestly, it's incredible. And you look at these people now. Honestly, this guy, this Nick Thomas Simmons, who's talking right now, this guy, I swear, I've watched him for I think about 20 minutes tonight, and the guy hasn't said a fucking thing worth listening to. Honestly, it is no wonder they can get such evil shit done and passed under our noses without anybody knowing about it, because it's people like this who are, they say nothing and you get so bored. Nobody's paying fucking attention to anything they're saying because it's all bollocks and nonsense and pomp and ceremony. The guy stood up there for about 10 minutes just congratulating people. Oh, I'd like to say well done to my honourable friend in Perth who stood up to the blah, 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 blah. What are you saying? Sit the fuck down unless you have a solution. But he's probably up there congratulating people right now. Turn the sound on. Oh, blah, blah. Talking bollocks. No passion whatsoever. Just reading off a script. The guy doesn't know what he's doing. The people making the decisions, I fucking hope it's not people like that. I really do. My worry is people who are even worse. Capitalists. Ugh. Come on, Boris, hurry up and come out and make this speech. Oh, sorry, I had the desktop audio turned off. Yeah, sorry you couldn't hear him. I had the audio turned off. I can turn it back on if you want.
Subject to a vote in both houses, but I do think the point that's been made is an absolutely crucial one by the right honourable gentleman, because if it is simply an unamendable motion, then the House is left with the choice of taking
an unamendable motion to most people in the country.
It could be 4/5 of the bill that we think are achieving their intent.
Unamendable motion. To most people in the country, that's a shit that won't be flushed. An unamendable motion. I'm going to go and make myself a coffee, everybody. You can watch the BBC for a little bit. I shall be back in a second. Boris will no doubt be out to speak.
Gain some sort of consensus across the House. I'm not saying that will make everybody satisfied, but certainly I think it would be of assistance in trying to move forward on a consensus basis tonight. There's also a carve-out, as I read the government amendment, in terms of devolved matters. Could the Minister also make clear what precisely the position is there? If this House were to switch off powers, does that mean they're automatically switched off for the devolved institutions? Or if there is a power that's been switched on by the devolved institutions, that they then have the power to switch off when they see fit? And in relation to those parts of England without formal regional devolution, that as soon as it's switched off, it's switched automatically for those areas.
I tell you, if there's anybody in the chat that has an answer about that that point that Chris Bryant, I told you, made about these powers, I think he was saying that these powers, there's no judicial review of them. So I think he was saying that they're outside the law. So if we do them, that's it, you're fucked. There's no recourse for the law here. They're bypassing the law. That's what it sounded like to me. If that's so, it's worse than I actually thought. I mean, actually worse than I thought. Let me know if that's true. Boris's speech is recorded tonight, said on Sky News earlier, says Tippy Tumbles. No, serious. So they are above the law. That's what I want to check, Nigel. That's why it sucks being me, just on my own. I've got to find out about these things. But it sounded to me, Chris Bryant, when he stood up, he said there was no judicial review. So I don't know whether that means there's no judicial review of the bill itself, or whether there's no judicial review of any of the rights within it. So I'll go and I'll go and make my coffee and see if I can figure it out in the kitchen. Don't hold your breath. I won't be able to.
57 to 63 and new clause 29. Now, most statutory duties relating to social care are being suspended in Schedule 11, and local authorities will only have to provide services deemed necessary to prevent breaches of people's human rights. Now, that's clearly not the vision of social care that anyone in this House would have envisaged when the Care Act 2014 was originally passed. Now, it doesn't prevent local authorities from providing higher levels of care, of course not, but there is no longer any duty to
Start? Ooh, no. Not going to start. Ah. All right. 8:25. Said it should have started 5 minutes ago, so we're waiting on Boris Johnson. Say hello to people. Boris is on. All right. I'm just waiting for it here. I must be on a delay. Because it's on TV and I'm on the internet. See? Got it on the TV there as well.
Beds, enough doctors and nurses. And as we've seen elsewhere in other countries that also have fantastic healthcare systems, that is the moment of real danger. To put it simply, if too many people become seriously unwell at one time, the NHS will be unable to handle it, meaning more people are likely to die, not just from coronavirus, but from other illnesses as well. So it's vital to slow the spread of the disease, because that is the way we reduce the number of people needing hospital treatment at any one time, so we can protect the NHS's ability to cope and save more lives. And that's why we've been asking people to stay at home during this pandemic. And though huge numbers are complying, and I thank you all, the time has now come for us all to do more. From this evening, I must give the British people a very simple instruction. You must stay at home. Because the critical thing we must do to stop the disease spreading between households. That is why people will only be allowed to leave their home for the following very limited purposes. Shopping for basic necessities as infrequently as possible. One form of exercise a day, for example, a run, walk or cycle, alone or with members of your household. Any medical need to provide care or to help a vulnerable person, and travelling to and from work, but only where this is absolutely necessary and cannot be done from home. That's all. These are the only reasons you should leave your home. You should not be meeting friends. If your friends ask you to meet, you should say no. You should not be meeting family members who do not live in your home. You should not be going shopping except for essentials like food and medicine. And you should do this as little as you can. And use food delivery services where you can. If you don't follow the rules, the police will have the powers to enforce them, including through fines and dispersing gatherings. To ensure compliance with the government's instruction to stay at home, we will immediately close all shops selling non-essential goods, including clothing and electronic stores, and other premises, including libraries, playgrounds and outdoor gyms and places of worship. We'll stop all gatherings of more than 2 people in public, excluding people you live with. And we'll stop all social events, including weddings, baptisms and other ceremonies, but excluding funerals.
This is like fucking
Parks
Stalin.
will remain open
In Russia.
for exercise, but gatherings will be dispersed. No Prime Minister wants to enact measures like this. I know the damage that this disruption is doing and will do to people's lives, to their businesses and to their jobs. And that's why we've produced a huge and unprecedented programme of support both for workers and for business. And I can assure you that we will keep these restrictions under constant review. We will look again in 3 weeks and relax them
Well,
if the evidence shows we are able to.
You're going to
But at present,
going to
there are
make
just
them
no
worse.
easy options.
You're to
The way
manipulate things
ahead
to make them
is
worse.
hard, and it is still true that many lives will, sadly, be lost. And yet it is also true that there is a clear way through. Day by day, we are strengthening our amazing NHS with 7,500 former clinicians now coming back to the service. With the time you buy by simply staying at home, we are increasing our stocks of equipment. We are accelerating our search for treatments. We're pioneering work on a vaccine. And we're buying millions of testing kits that will enable us to turn the tide on this invisible killer. I want to thank everyone who is working flat out to beat the virus. Everyone from the supermarket staff to the transport workers to the carers to the nurses and doctors on the front line. But in this fight, we can be in no doubt that each and every one of us is directly enlisted. Each and every one of us is now obliged to join together to halt the spread of this disease, to protect our NHS and to save many, many thousands of lives. And I know that as they have in the past, so many times, the people of this country will rise to that challenge and we will come through it stronger than ever. We will beat the coronavirus and we will beat it together. And therefore, I urge you, at this moment of national emergency, to stay at home, protect our NHS, and save lives. Thank you.
All right, Boris. Here you go. What Boris has to say. So, we're on lockdown officially. We're doing what they've basically been telling us to do now for quite some time. They're asking people to do what I've been doing, and no doubt many of you have been doing for quite some time. Otherwise, unless you're out for any of those reasons, and unless you're in a group of more than 2 people, I'll be telling you the truth about something, you see. You can't have more than 2 people, you know. They're going to close all shops, everything. Everything will close down in this country, and everything will grind to a halt, and everybody will go home. Or we'll face a fine and getting locked up at their discretion. According to Chris Bryant earlier, either the bill's got no judicial review or you have none when you're locked up because you're refusing to let them inject you with God knows what. There you go. The thing is, this is serious. The thing is, this is serious. It's very serious. But is it any wonder? I mean, you know, if you're wondering how we got here, I showed you this a while ago.
In stage 1, we say nothing is going to happen.
Stage 2, we say something may be going to happen, but we should do nothing about it.
In stage 3, we say that maybe we should do something about it, but there's nothing we can do.
Stage 4, we say maybe there was something we could have done, but it's too late now.
So now what they've got to do is lock down the whole country and start taking your rights away. Yeah. Well done. You managed this perfectly, guys. Well done. Why didn't they lock the country down to begin with? If that was the case, why didn't they lock the country down to begin with? You know? If they didn't do this to begin with, and they didn't come across and say this to people to begin with, in no uncertain terms, they've almost created the panic. They've created it as a way to actually enforce these things. You see what I'm saying here? Complete assholes, they really are. The problem with all this, of course, is that it's serious. We do really need to go home. And the reason people aren't paying attention to it, or one of the reasons people aren't paying attention to this advice, is they don't believe a bloody word the government tell them. Or the media. Can you blame them? Can you blame these people who are saying, no, it's all bollocks? Can you blame them? Just look at the last few years, the last 2 or 3 years, since I've been doing this on my channel. Look at how the media and the government have been lying to you over and over and over again about Syria, about what happened in Duma that led to the trilateral bombing of a sovereign country. Look at how they lied about that. I have documented it on this channel. Go and look. Go and type in Duma. Go and look at the white helmets. Look how they fabricate things with the white helmets. Look how they almost create their own narrative with the, Bellingcat and all these other people. Look at what they've done with that. People can see it. People know that that's bullshit. That was only a couple of years ago and they've been carrying on with it non-stop. Who here, listening to me, believes the government and what they've told everybody about the Skripal poisonings? Hands up. Anybody in the chat? Anyone? No? That's because you all think that they lied to you about the Skripals, and you know why? They fucking did. They've been keeping you in the dark and feeding you bullshit like a mushroom. That's just a couple of stories. I mean, I don't even have to tell you about how much they've lied over the last decade about Julian Assange. Do I? Do I still need to tell you how they've lied about that? Just go and look at any number of videos I've done on that. Look at how, let's go back a little bit further. And then there's other instances. Look at how they presented. I'll come to that in a second. Look at how they lied about austerity. Look at how they lied about how they said that that was a necessary thing. And then look at what they're doing now. Paying people's wages. People. Giving the people money and not the bankers. Not the people asking for bailouts. They could have done that 10 years ago, but they didn't. They lied about it. They lied about the fact that you paid for the bankers and the rich bastards. You paid for all their mistakes. They made a fortune out of it, got a load of bonuses after, and have tripled their wealth since in these last 10 years, while you're barely scraping by. They lied to you constantly about it, about austerity. And according to one study, it's led to over 120,000 deaths. That was a couple of years ago, so it will be higher now. Look at how they lied to you. Look at how they lie to you about, lies of omission. Okay? Just lies of omission. Look at how the media and the government never, ever, ever, ever mention the petrodollar. Ever. Look at how they never mention the fact that the dollar and its value, it's predicated on the amount of dollars actually in circulation, and they've got this deal with Saudi Arabia. And that's the result of all the wars around the world. Look at Libya, Syria, Iraq, Venezuela, all countries that wants to come off the petrodollar and have their oil sold in another currency. Libya with Gaddafi. Look at how they lied to you about Gaddafi. Is it any wonder people don't believe their bullshit now? You can't blame them. Look at how they lied to people last year and the year before and the year before that, constantly trying to make out that the most anti-racist person in Parliament is somehow a racist who hates the Jews. The fuck? They lied constantly. Every fucking channel, every outlet, constantly, for years about it. Look at how they lied and smeared Chris Williamson. Look at how the one decent fucking politician who had the balls to stand up for what was right and what was true last year, look at how they treated him. Look at how he was cast aside. Look at how he was demonised in the media and fucking lied about. Look at how disgusting it was. Is it any wonder nobody believes them now? It's the boy who cried wolf. Look at the lies of omission when it comes to Israel and Palestine. Look at those lies. Look at the lies of omission with regards to the Chagos Islands. They're never really telling everybody, really what that's all about. I could go on and on. If you go a bit further back, look at the lies they told about this. The only reason we know about these lies now, and we know about these lies more now than we did when I was growing up in my 20s, is because of the internet. Can you imagine if 9/11 happened now? And they reported that Tower 7 fell half an hour before it did now? That would spread like wildfire on the internet. It was still in its infancy back then. They knew the terrorists had come into the country, the CIA did, and they didn't tell the FBI. They knew no terrorists had come onto soil, and then they report that a building falls down half an hour before it did, or 20 minutes before it did. They cut the girl off mid-report, and then they say, it was confusion of the day, and the BBC now say, it was confusion. I understand we cut her off, but, it was confusion, and you'll never guess what. We've lost the tapes. I know it seems bad, but we've lost the tapes. This is actually, I'm reporting to you the actual way that they say that went down with Tower 7. This is that's the official line. Is it any wonder the average person walking up and down the street right now, out in the open, that you're about to lock up and stick behind bars with no fucking judicial review and treat like a mental patient? Is it any wonder that he doesn't believe your bullshit now? Is it any fucking wonder at all? And now you're going to lock that person up and fucking do God knows what with him? This is the boy who cried wolf. Don't demonise these people who are out. Just say to them, I understand it's all bullshit, but this one's not. We really need you to go home. Otherwise, you're putting us all at risk. To the people out there who are questioning this narrative, question away. Please do. Because they've lied about so fucking much in the past. Who knows what they're lying about right now? Because I guarantee you, they are trying to take advantage of this the best fucking way they can. They're about to take your rights away. I've just explained to you why that's fucking unfair. Go and make a noise. But do it from the safety of your own home. Start writing letters. Be calm. Be calmer than me. Get too emotional about this shit. But I can see them doing it. It's like a bad play. Is it any wonder nobody believes your bullshit when you've been lying to them constantly all of my fucking life and all of theirs too? Is that too hard for you to fucking come out and just say, I understand? Is it too hard for you to come out and say, I understand there's been a lot of bullshit in the past? Do something to appease these people rather than just demonise them and then lock them up like some fucking mental health patient, because that is what you're planning to do. That's what they're going to do. What they're doing. You heard him. Proudhon 100 has just brought up exactly what I brought up. The first thing I thought of on Twitter. The Patriot Act was only supposed to be temporary. It was a temporary power. Gotta get those terrorists. USA. And it's just been rolled over. It was just extended. They passed it with no problems at all. This one's going to go through with no problems at all. Why? Because the Labour Party are fucking useless on purpose, and they haven't got enough people to oppose this, and anybody who opposes Boris Johnson now is ejected from the Conservative Party. It's going to go through. It's going to sail through. Nobody's going to give a fuck. Nobody's going to notice. Nobody's going to care. Until it's too late. And the beautiful thing, by the way, about his speech there, the bit I really started laughing in his speech was when he said we're strengthening the NHS by getting back another 400 blah blah blah. It's like so he said we're strengthening the NHS by getting back the people who had lost their jobs, who we'd got rid of in the last 10 years when we got rid of all those staff. With all those cuts, we're going to strengthen the NHS by giving them their jobs back. Assholes. Don't say that, Darren. I'll get to these super chats in a second. Thanks, everybody. Oh, by the way, you know that patent I was saying about the patents? There's a town in America called Marshalltown. All of the patents are held there. What it says, all of the patents. It's in the Eastern District of Texas, which includes a federal courthouse in Marshall. It's got more patent cases than any of the other 93 districts. And the reason is because the patent companies and the patent lobbyists and these drug companies and whatever, they just fucking sponsor the town. The town has got an ice rink sponsored by one of these companies in Texas. A fucking ice rink in Texas. Capitalism, baby. Capitalism. America, land of the free, home of the brave. And incredibly fucking inhumane corrupt. We've got a few of them over here as well. Don't worry, guys. I'm not bragging on you. Looking at super chats. I'll do the super chats and then I'll go away because I have a lot of editing to do. Hi, Darren. Darren Alive, he sent me a few super chats. Thank you, man. 23rd. Here we go. UK Deep State. Love this now that we are all going into lockdown with just MSM to brainwash people. Yeah, they can, everybody's at home now. They can listening to the propaganda non-stop, aren't they? I mean, they can't get away from it now. Not that they could before. I mean, you go into your bloody car and turn on the radio. How many channels have BBC got? 9 million. Darren Levy, any chance of Assange getting out? Yeah, if we keep the pressure up. Assange's fate lies in the court of public opinion. We need to keep the pressure up. We need to keep, talking and shouting and writing letters and drumming up support. And he's got a chance. I do mean that. He really is not hopeless for Assange. Certainly not. I have a feeling people like you, Gordon, will be locked up first because you expose their lies. No, I don't expose their lies, mate. I stand on the shoulders of giants. I just talk about other people who are exposing their lies, really. It's other people's great work that I've just read stuff. That's pretty much all. But I appreciate you saying that. Right. I think that's it for me tonight. I've done 2 live streams today. I can cut loads of videos and drop those. Thanks very much, everybody. If you've got any spare, send it to me. If not, don't fucking worry about it. I understand. If you are a patron of mine, suspend your payments. I don't mind that either. We're all in this together if you can't afford it. Nobody's got any fucking money. Jimmy Doors End to his videos now. He's hilarious. Go watch that. Yeah, we're all in this, guys, and I'll keep trying to explain what they're doing and how they're doing it. And right now they're taking your rights away, and yeah, they couldn't have designed this better, really, honestly. They couldn't have set this up better if they'd designed it. But that's pretty much as fucking incompetent as they are. What do you expect? Boris Johnson is our Prime Minister. You get the leader that you deserve. Ciao, everybody. See you later.